Welcome back to Section 4. Frank, why don't you give us some examples of community spirit and what other communities have done to help build spirit in their community?
Well, what I wanted to stress for this segment is that every idea that we got is from a real HOA that is actually doing it in the state of Nevada. So it's very appropriate for us, okay, who are here looking for ways to build community spirit. So I'm going to start off with one that's very simplistic. It was a 171 single-family homes, and it's a traditional holiday concept of decorating and so forth. But this particular one had a board president, and it wasn't me, Donna, okay, because I'm fanatical about holidays. But he had a real thing for Halloween. And so he single-handedly developed a program where he was sending out a newsletter to all the homes and said, this Halloween, we want you to really decorate. And we're going to have a contest. And they got the Master Association to come in and judge all the different homes, whatever they wanted to do, decorations, and so forth. And they even allowed, okay, lights to be strung from one house to the other across the street in cul-de-sacs and so forth. So I mean, it really became a total Halloween and environment.
Fun.
Wasn't it fun?
Yeah.
And of course, they served their little snacks out on the street for everyone to come that wanted to walk and look at close up all the different houses and so forth. They did give prizes. They had gift certificates that they got from the local businesses and so forth, and made it an incredibly fun night where everybody was in the street. They closed off the street. There were no traffic involved. And really, it wasn't a lot of work to do it,
It sounds
because
like
people
a lot of
decorate.
fun.
It is. And they helped one another with decorations, and neighbors got together. So there's an idea. That's pretty simple. And you obviously can do that for any holiday. So an idea from you.
Well, one of the things we talked about before, there's a community, it's about 36 single-family homes. So it's a small community, so obviously they only have 36 homes. So it's not like they have 10,000 homes. And they were
Right.
trying to think of what they could do. And there were a lot of different age groups involved. So what they did was they did a progressive dinner. And what they did was they would do a progressive dinner, then they'd wind up at somebody's house, and they would have all the children stay at one person's home, and the teenagers in the neighborhood would babysit so the parent could get together. And it was a lot of fun for them, it really was. They also started a book club because they like to read books. And so they had a book club, they had a walking club. It's a small community, and sometimes it's harder to get smaller communities involved because you have such a small group of people.
Right.
But it was really important for them to all know each other. They were all different age groups, and they even had an adopt a grandparent in the community.
Oh, neat.
Which was great because a lot of these people came from somewhere else, and where are the grandparents? Not here in Nevada. They're somewhere else. So they did adopt a grandparent, which was really nice. It helped the people who are my age, who are grandparents, feel connected to younger people.
Right.
And it also allowed the younger people to associate with people their grandparents' age and get to know them.
Nice, very nice. I've got one that you hear about a lot, okay? We have no one willing to organize an event. Okay, now this one, in addition to that, is a condo unit. And they had about 312 homes or condos in this unit. And again, a really diverse population. People didn't know each other, and again, in some cases, they didn't want to know each other. But they tried to get together and say, well, let's do some things. Let's have some fun. Maybe we can create some, social environments. They could not get people willing to volunteer. One person stepped forward and said, I have an idea. I know of a program at UNLV that has an internship where people are in a recreation major thing where they needed to do an internship. Mm-hmm. And they said, how about if we try to get an intern on a volunteer basis who has to do this as part of their education, develop some programs. And of course, all the people said, oh yeah, fine, as long as we don't have to do it, you can do it. Well, let me tell you how positive this turned out. Okay, this young person got so enthusiastic that it was infectious. She did actually get homeowners or the condo owners to get involved to do things. Now, you're going to ask, what kinds of things did she do? Okay, how about a tango lesson? Does that sound like fun? Okay. She did field trips. Locally, they went out and they went to different places and so forth, making things together, whether it was food, decorations, for the holidays and so forth, going to one of the condos, and she organized it where somebody really knew it. You know, had the skill to do it and taught the other people. So it was like classes right there that you could take. Piano lessons. Any kind of social. They had even game night where she organized it.
And sometimes it's just as simple as getting started. It really is.
It is, but they had some rules, and I like this. The rule was that every event had to have at least one board member present. Okay, why? Because it would die after the 600 hours if the board wasn't willing to continue the programs, to sponsor the program, so that they could see the enthusiasm. They could see how the tenants were really involved and really did enjoy the various activities they come up with. Now, it won't work for everybody, but it's an idea of a young person getting in there, getting involved, at least getting you started. But the key is, you got to follow up after that person leaves.
Exactly.
You got to keep doing it. And in this particular community, it worked. There were a number of people who were excited about the events and went ahead and continued the program.
Well, I always say never be critical, just learn stuff.
Right, right.
I always point at the positive. We have an interesting thing. We had a traffic circle in our community.
Okay.
And unless you're from back east, traffic circles can be a little interesting. And it really had seen better days. It really didn't look good. But the community itself didn't have a lot of money to refurbish the traffic circle. So we went to our local city to see if they had any grants and what we could do. And there was a $5,000 grant that we had applied for in our community.
Wow.
But we still couldn't afford to have someone design it.
Right.
So we went to, here down in Southern Nevada, went to UNLV, went to the architectural group, and we said, we want to have a contest. And we had 6 different architects that, kind of like your intern story, that developed and designed what this circle should look like. And then the community voted on it. And our landscapers volunteered all their time.
Wow. Oh
so
my
the
gosh.
money that we got put in the plants and the irrigation and things like that, and it turned out great, and it was such a positive thing when people would drive by
Every
this.
day, people drive
by
by
that
it
circle.
and say, we did that.
Exactly. And you know what it did? The next time we had a community event, we had more people show up.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to get involved.
Right.
They really did. We started having picnics in the park. People would show up. We live on a lake, so we had a boat parade.
Right, right.
And we would have, 50 boats in our parade around the holiday time. But really and truly, there are no bad ideas. There are just ideas. And once you vet them and you realize that people are going to get involved, and like I say, never criticize and never say who's not there. Always be positive and say who's there and what fun you had.
Yeah. There's some smaller ideas that can be a one-time thing or a program that's established. It can be any size HOA, because everybody talks about my HOA is too big, too small, too little, whatever. But things that can be done many times around the holidays. We already talked about decorating. That's kind of normal. I liked your grandparent thing. One that I heard was invite someone to dinner. Randomly invite someone in their block or in your community to dinner, someone you don't even know. And they had it on this one HOA as a formal program, like that, a specific day where people literally invited another couple or another family into their home and made a meal. What a way to build community.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not knowing each other and so forth. Ideas of New Year's Eve, for example. And this was in a family community where one home volunteered to babysit any kids that wanted to be there for New Year's Eve so that the parents could get together and have a progressive dinner or eat in other homes or going out to a special show or program, but gave them the night off. Now, that could be done anytime. That doesn't have to be New Year's Eve. You could have a program where there's a designated babysitting home, I think that was a great idea. I mean, just stop and think of all the things you could do for the community that would affect so many people. You know, helping decorate, two families getting together, all kinds of ideas I think would really be special.
Well, I know a community that I know of, they have a spring fling and they have a fall festival, I guess you would call it. And what they do is they contact their local government agencies and they'll bring in a shredding truck to shred papers.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
they'll bring in
important.
the recyclables, because a lot of times you've got a lot of paint that you've painted, especially been in your house for a while, or a battery or something, you don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So what they'll do is they bring in food trucks.
Of course.
Food trucks, and if you live in the community, you get 2 tickets and you can get 2 free meals. Anything other than that, you would probably have to purchase, because if you had a family of 6, that probably wouldn't work out too well.
Right.
And it brings the community together, and really and truly, you're being a good citizen. You're recycling, you're shredding, and it has a lot of positive aspects. You can
Right.
even have a talent contest going on at the same time, or have some entertainment. You could have a car show if you have enough room to park cars. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do if you just think about it and put your
Sure.
mind at it.
Yeah, you mentioned a talent contest. I'm in a larger group of communities, must be, 12, 15 HOAs. And the concept of a community variety show. Now, I can go from one extreme to the other, okay? So let me talk first about a small HOA. What they did is they had a night where people spontaneously, and some of them trained and some of them practiced, of course, did different skits or singing or playing the piano, even had a group that danced a little thing. But it was simplistic. It was a dramatic reading. One of the cute things they did was a couple of skits they got off the old TV shows, like the Golden Girls.
Oh, how fun.
Which is a good one for a senior community. The Odd Couple. Sometimes I think the one they did was 2 women being the odd couple. It was really funny. And they did all kinds of things like this. And then the traditional, potluck dessert
Sure.
kind of thing. It doesn't take a lot. It's just a small space, spontaneously doing things. Oh, one of the other things I thought was kind of funny, they had a group that sang a song that was a tune that everybody knew, but they changed the words about their own HOA.
Oh, no,
It was hysterical.
That's funny.
It was really quite funny. So again, simplistic ideas. Now the other extreme is a large HOA. They have a pretty big facility and they have a stage and lighting and sound and all that. They did a full 2-hour variety show with nothing but homeowners involved. Now all of them put together, when you put in technical and costumes and makeup and all the things, they invited everybody to do it. They had like 60 people involved from their community presenting the show.
That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? The show was actually 2 hours long. They charged $5, which they raised the money. Okay, guess what? They sold out. Capacity of their facility, because neighbors wanted to see neighbors perform. And it was so special the night. They ended a little more sophisticated with wine and cheese party.
Ah, okay.
Okay, which made everybody really happy, and you got a chance
There's your
to
food
meet
again.
the cast. Yeah, but you got a chance to meet the cast, and they were so supportive. Homeowners were so supportive of their fellow neighbors, entertaining them. I mean, that's a big scale one, but it is something that can be done.
Right, but these are examples of what communities can do to build community spirit.
Yeah.
And like you say, larger communities probably can do bigger, more extravagant things. But just because you are in a smaller community doesn't mean you can't have community spirit. You can always have community spirit.
Yeah. In all of our ideas that we came up here to build community spirit, what's the key? The key,
Communication,
communication, and you need volunteers.
volunteers.
That's the key. Now, everybody says, oh, how do you get volunteers? Well, you have to come up with things that are interesting. It doesn't hurt to send out the email. It doesn't hurt to send out surveys. What would you like to be part of? And list a number of things that they could check off in return. Don't get frustrated when people don't volunteer. But I find that one of the keys to getting volunteers is word of mouth. You have to get a friend to a friend. Come with me.
Exactly.
Come with me. I'm going to they're talking about starting a drama club, or they're talking about doing that variety show. bringing a friend there, it just multiplies. And keeping good records of those who do volunteer and the contact, and most
Exactly.
importantly, no matter what their skill is, use them in the activity. There's always something they could do, whether it's cutting the cake to serve the food, whether, any involvement, pouring the juice. But whatever you do, make sure if you get a volunteer that you use their services.
Exactly.
Now,
and let everybody know how
there-
great they are.
Yeah, and there's the key.
And take a picture of them.
Publicize, take a picture,
picture of 'em.
get it in the newsletter.
Here's Frank cutting the cake.
Yep.
Look what a great job Frank did cutting the cake.
Yeah, I'm great at that.
Are you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm better at eating it. But again, the key, make volunteers feel extremely important and valued.
Value.
That is so
That's
key.
so important.
Because once you have them, they're going to repeat and they're going to be doing a lot more.
And they'll bring in a friend and so forth and so on. Before you know it, you're going to have a lot of volunteers.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot of territory in these
We
4
have.
segments, and it was a pleasure working with you and
Thank
talking
you,
about
thank
that.
you, thank you.
And we hope that people will really take to heart ways that is perfect for their community, how to get the volunteers, how to come up with social events, and to build that community spirit. Because, again, homeowners that are happy are going to stay there and be
Exactly.
supportive, and they're going to be involved.
And what you said in the little vignette, yes, we are cheerleaders for our community.
We are cheerleaders, that we are.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for letting us present this to you.